In today's video, we're going to be comparing the new jet that's going to be added to Grand Theft Auto Online soon, the B-11 Strike Force, versus some of the older but still most popular jets in the game, the Hydra and the Lazer. So in this video, we don't go about testing it against any of the Smuggler's Run aircrafts like the Starling or the, Rogue or the P-45 Nakota or the Molotov or anything like that. I felt like the Strike Force was most similar to the Hydra and the Lazer, so those are the two that I wanted to compare it against in this video today. I still feel like those are the most popular, probably the most commonly used, but in the comments down below, if you want to write, how this might compare to the Rogue, or if there's any similarities or differences to the Rogue or Lazer, etc., you can let us know in the comments down below. But as always, we've got to start with our barrier to entry today, and that is price. So let's start with the price of the B-11 Strike Force. So surprisingly, the B-11 Strike Force does not have a trade price. It just has a standard price on the Warstock cash and carry site of $3,890,000. So how does that compare to the Hydra? Well, the Hydra is actually available for a buy it now price of $3,990,000. So basically $4 million. However, if you complete the Humane Labs raid, you can get it for $3 million. So without the trade price, it's more expensive than the Strike Force, but with the trade price, it's about, $800,000 cheaper than the Strike Force. So something to keep in mind right there. Now let's talk about the Lazer, the most expensive option today by far, and that is $6,500,000. By far one of the most controversial prices of any vehicle ever added in online, and by far the most expensive option we're going to be looking at today. $6.5 million. That is insane. So if we were to completely get rid of trade price, believe it or not, the B-11 Strike Force would be the cheapest plane that we're actually going to be looking at today, which I think is really, really cool. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not all that expensive when you consider other weaponized jets and planes and other vehicles like that. Now, what about the speed of these jets? That's obviously something that's going to be incredibly important. And when testing all three, we noticed that the Lazer is by far the king of speed. And that should be really no surprise because the Lazer is the lightest of all the vehicles we're going to be looking at today. So the Lazer by far the quickest. Now, for a time, it looks like the acceleration of the B-11 Strike Force was pretty good to actually get it into second place as the second fastest on our list today. But over time, the Hydra is able to surpass the Strike Force. So the B-11 Strike Force has a little bit better acceleration than the Hydra, but when you start flying for long periods of time and when you max out its ability, you're going to notice that the Hydra will become quicker. Now, the big difference between these two vehicles, the Strike Force, the Lazer, and the Hydra is obviously the only one today, and really the only comparable jet that does have that VTOL capability. So you're sacrificing maybe a little bit of an initial acceleration for its ability to pretty much land and take off like a helicopter and then transform into a jet. So those are some of the things you're going to have to balance here in deciding on what you think is going to be best for you. Do you want a super quick vehicle that needs a runway to take off, or do you want one that's a little bit slower at the start but has a little bit more maneuverability when it comes to being able to land and take off from just about anywhere that a normal helicopter could? Now, let's talk about the weapons on these vehicles. That's obviously something that is incredibly important here. And let's start with the older vehicles first. So the Lazer and the Hydra both have cannons that you can apply to the vehicle, and they also have homing missiles on there as well. Both of them have the exact same options. So on the Lazer, the cannons are extremely powerful and effective, being able to finish off an enemy with a single-aimed burst. And the cannons can be continuously fired without needing to reload. And the missiles are also useful, although they often miss locked-on targets and can only lock on on specific targets. So I'd say the reason you'd buy a Lazer is because it's super fast and its missiles are incredibly powerful. Now, the Hydra reuses some of the weapons of the P996 Lazer. It features 2 cannons mounted below the aircraft that fires explosive rounds as well. However, unlike the Lazer, the Hydra fires lock-on and non-lock-on rockets instead of missiles with the ability to switch between lock-on rockets and non-lock-on rockets. This results in the rockets having less range and less flight time before the rocket actually self-destructs. And then that leaves us to the Strike Force. And the Strike Force, by far today, has the best weaponry in terms of its options that it has. So let's start with its explosive cannon. The explosive cannon is incredibly powerful. Basically, it is a reskinned rogue cannon with excellent accuracy, range, and damage, but does require a bit of precision for full effect. So what's funny about this is the tail code for the B-11 Strike Force is BRRT, and the cannons make a very unique sound when firing them. I'll let you guys take a listen to it right now. By far the most unique sounding cannon that they have in the game. Now, on top of that, the B-11 Strike Force also has homing missiles that can be fired at 60 rounds per minute and a barrage rocket option. So you're getting the Hunter's barrage ability on this vehicle, which is just crazy. And on top of that, it also has the same bomb capacity as the Volatile, which was added in the Doomsday heist. So it has the most powerful weapons in the game. It has homing missiles that we've seen on other aircrafts. It has barrage rockets that we've seen on other helicopters. And it also has the ability to drop bombs, which is just insane. So we have a clear advantage that goes to the B-11 Strike Force when it comes to weaponry. Now, what about performance upgrades? That again also goes to the B-11 Strike Force. So the B-11 Strike Force has been confirmed that it is excluded from Pegasus Lifestyle Management and will be stored in a personal hangar. Now, the Hydra and the Lazer can be stored in a personal hangar as well. So on that level, they're even. But because those are older aircrafts, they don't get the same upgrades that something like a B-11 Strike Force would. So it's going to get all the traditional Smuggler's Run aircraft upgrades like armors, transmissions, stuff like that. It will also have countermeasures too, which makes it very valuable for fighting other aircrafts. Now, this is where you could bring in some of the other ones like the Rogue and the Starling and the Molotov and compare those one-to-one. But I'd say even if you removed the option for the B-11 Strike Force to get those aircraft upgrades, I feel like it would still be better than the Hydra and the Lazer. Now, as far as the armor comparison goes of the B-11 Strike Force, comparing it to the Hydra and the Lazer, it is significantly better. This thing is a tank in the sky. It can absorb rockets. It can absorb explosive shots from a sniper rifle, which is honestly probably the biggest threat to something like a jet. Because let's be honest, a rocket is going to be really hard to hit you. So having an ability to absorb explosive sniper rifle rounds is awesome. In our test, we were able to determine that it can survive 5. And if you can get more than 2 shots in a row on a jet that's tailing away, that's impressive. There's no way you're going to be able to get 5. So it's going to be able to survive pretty easily when it comes to avoiding explosive sniper rifle rounds. Now, what about something like a homing missile? With 100% armor, it was able to survive 6 homing missiles too. So this thing can survive a ton. The Lazer and the Hydra, it's typically around 3 or 4 missiles that will completely disable the aircraft. So you're getting about 2 or 3 more shots that you can take before it actually explodes. That is crazy. So now let me give you guys my final review of the B-11 Strike Force, how I think this compares to other jets, and how I think this will be used. So it has a Hunter-style rocket barrage with the reload speed of an Akula rocket barrage, which is incredible. It has homing rockets that have the same limitations as the Hydra or Lazer. It has bombs. It has a cannon with a slower rate of fire and spin-up time, but with greater range and more damage. It has more armor than any other aircraft except the Avenger. It has countermeasures and upgrades. Really, its only drawback is it has slower airspeed and not the best handling. So all in all, it is going to be an amazing close air support plane, but will be heavily disadvantaged against other jets. And that's kind of what I noticed against things that have a little bit more pace, a little bit more speed, like the Lazer. If you are able to sort of run around it a little bit, you can actually sort of take advantage of the fact that it doesn't have the best turning radius, that it's not exactly all that fast. So I'm not sure this is going to be the best dogfighting aircraft, but I'm not sure this aircraft in real life, the A-10 Thunderbolt, was ever meant for something like that, as far as, traditional dogfighting goes. So I think that's really its only downside. And we completely even forgot to mention price as well. Out of all the options we mentioned today, it is one of the cheaper. So that's something to consider as well, that at the end of the day, it is cheaper, it's less expensive, and it has a ton more advantages over really all of the other aircrafts that Rockstar have in online. So I definitely think this vehicle is going to be a must-buy on day one when Rockstar introduces it into the game. I'm not sure when that is going to be, but I think you're going to need a vehicle like this just to fight fire with fire. Like, if you don't have one of these, you're going to be putting yourself at a severe disadvantage. So that right there is my review of the B-11 Strike Force versus some of the other, most popular aircrafts in the game, the Hydra and the Lazer. Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more on this vehicle in the comments down below. Are you going to be getting this on day one? I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.